Hello, let's talk about George Martin book, Feast of Crows. Well, I say it's a great book, maybe you know it. But, okay, well, let me move the step back. So, what is the fantasy? The fantasy is a setting, literally setting. It's about magic, dragons, elves, or traveling with light above, well, with a speed above light, and so on. It is fantasy. And the story can be of any kind. For example, about love, about tragedy, about kindness, about seeking treasury, about anything. So fantasy is, it's hard to say, like the fantasy is not a, in fantasy setting you can put anything. Story about growing up, story about war, about detective, love story, poems, anything. But fantasy is a setting. It is not maybe specific genre of literature. Like you can put any story in a fantasy setting. The main theme of this book is not about fantasy, it's not about magic, magic, swords and dragons. It's not about adventure, it's about difficult fate of women in patriarchal world. So this theme, well, Martin, I think he thinks about that theme and he wrote a book about that. So this is what fantasy about. This book about feminism, about women, about their fate. It's not about the dragons, adventures, and so on. In this book, we have all men's character aside. Well, not all except Jaime, but anyway, we have Cersei, and she's a queen. We have Brienne, she's wandering knight. We have Alenna and Sansa. Well, she with Littlefinger, but she is learning. We have Arya, and she is wandering in Bravos, and she is learning. We have Melisandre, who tries to to gain her goals with fighting with others, and so on. We have women in difficult situations, women in power, women who tries to play some roles, some men's roles. What do we see in this book? We can see women who try to take place of men, but they failed. Robert Baratheon was not very competent king, but anyway his ruling was good and safe. But Cersei ruling is bad because she is woman. Then Wandering Knight. Brienne Tart is Wandering Knight, and everybody says her that you are not in your place, you should be in a kitchen, you should give a bath, you should do some things. Then and these women, they cannot handle their problems by themselves. Like Cersei, Cersei doesn't rule, but she manipulate. She didn't give orders, but and Asha Greyjoy, she wants to be queen of Iron Islands. These women try to take man's place, and well, they failed. Asha Greyjoy failed in the beginning, Brienne and Cersei failed in the end. They couldn't do anything. So it's gender imbalance. And then women are invisible in that society. Like women were never ruler of Iron Islands. Like for 8,000 years, well, they didn't see any strong women. It's strange. Then we saw Olenna Tyrell. She couldn't rule by herself, like she doesn't has any income. She has to manipulate by her son. The world of the Cycle Cimmeral, the Middle Age, and the theme of gender imbalance in it now consonant many modern works in general, not just Martin. So it is the main topic of, well, the feminist book. Seven unequal response to lost suffering. For example, Cersei lost her 2 children and she got mad. And Davos lost 4 her sons and everything okay with him. Everything's okay. And Catelyn lost her sons and she got mad. But, well, Karstark too got mad. Yes, he killed 2 hostages. But anyway, in this book, well, we can see an equal response to lost suffering. We don't have our characters that we love. So, from the beginning it was 5 characters. Arya Stark, Sansa Stark, Jon Snow, Catelyn Stark, Eddard Stark, and Tyrion Lannister, and Jaime Lannister. Right now we don't see Jon Snow, Daenerys, and Tyrion, but now we have a lot of female characters. So it's other structures, other characters. Then mechanism divisions of the book. So I truly believe that we should have a very, very big book. That this book, Feast of the Crowns, then plus Dance of the Dragons, then the first part of Winds of Winter is the whole one book. Because this book doesn't have real ending. What is in the end? Like Cersei is... what have we got in the end? Cersei was under arrest. Cersei was arrested. Then Brienne of Tarth was arrested. Then Jaime Lannister took Riverrun. Okay. Then Arya Stark got blind. Asha Greyjoy didn't get her crown. Okay, so it is not the real ending. The real ending is like in the first book. Dragons appeared, Ned Stark was executed, Robb Stark was proclaimed by his lords the king, and so on. So, and here it's like the first book was stopped at the moment where Eddard Stark were arrested. So you see, we don't have a very speedy tempo here. Like everything is going very slow. Brienne of Tarth is going to somewhere during the 7 chapters. It's too much. Well, it's not too much, it's very interesting, but still, tempo is too slow. Yes. Like Catelyn Stark, she is in Winterfell, then in the next chapter she is in King's Landing, and in the next chapter she is in Winterfell. Very quick tempo. Almost complete absence, completed plot lines. Well, as I said, yes. They just go from one point to another point, and I wanted more interactions between them, like interaction between Sam and Arya. I don't have it here. So, Jaime didn't speak to Brienne of Tarth. Brienne of Tarth didn't speak a lot to Catelyn Stark. So you see, we have some main characters who didn't interact in one place. I think that if they are in one place, they should talk. Sansa Stark is learning. She is training, and she begin to understand some things like manipulation and corruption, and how Littlefinger can usurp the power. And it is interesting. Sansa Stark is growing. We have new locations. Like in the first book we have, well, mainly the North, Riverlands, Westerlands, and Stormlands and King's Landing. But, well, yes, it's the main thing we have. And Dorne, Vale, and Iron Islands are somewhere aside. But now they are going to game. They are going to play a game like some other regions have their interests. They're not going to stand aside. This book maybe have it can stand alone. Well, it can stand alone, but if we think about that book as about a feminist book, like women try to take man's place and fail, and fails, or fail, okay. But as a part of the saga, like what do we have here? We have, well, the end of the War of Five Kings. It is Cersei regime. Jaime Lannister tries to make it stronger, like he takes Riverrun. So, what do we have here? We have reign of Cersei. We have rebellion of Iron Islands. And literally it's all. Oh, no. And Stannis Baratheon on their wall. So, it is Cersei ruling. She is in charge. She is, well, but we also have a lot of problems, a lot of conspiracies, like Dane, Brotherhood Without Banners, Wildings, Boltons, Victarion, Dorne, Vale, Catelyn, Brotherhood. So we have a lot of conspiracies and a lot of powers who is going to fight with Cersei. And these others and Daenerys Targaryen, they all want to fight with Cersei. Yes. Maybe Daenerys Targaryen should arrive in Westeros, but she never did it. She never arrived. She has never arrived in Westeros. So it is something like transition from the end of the War of Five Kings, like from Red Wedding to Daenerys appearing in Westeros. Interesting. We should think about that. Next, Catelyn is the only normal example of women in power, but again only because Ned Stark allowed her to rule. In real life, women in medieval can take her warriors and defeat an enemy. Okay, let me explain why women in... Well, what do Ariana Martell or Asha Greyjoy in this book? In books. They sleep with men because they are free women. They can sleep with men because they're free and independent and strong women. But in reality, why women didn't sleep with men? Because, venereal diseases, absence contraception, and methods of abortion. So this is reasons. So if you are strong women, you can sleep with anybody in middle age. So I want more, what I want is my problems. This book is about women, about Martin views on feminism, of 1970s, not about Middle Ages or the story. The story is not moving. The tempo is very slow. We just have a lot of women who faces with the problems in society, who doesn't see the women, and they try to fight with that society, and they try to establish their rights. What is this book about? It's good. It's a very good book. It was very interesting to read for me. Thank you for your attention.